New adjective info, adjective placement, and how that relates to the meaning of the adjective. We started by talking about the regular adjectives, things like colors and nationalities, personalities, conditions, and different things like that. In these cases, your noun goes before your adjective, and that's the opposite of what we do in English, so that's kind of a confusing rule. Then we talked about bangs adjectives. The bangs adjectives are the ones that go before the noun, and bang stands for beauty, age, number, goodness, and size. Now we're going to talk about some adjectives that have one meaning if they're placed before your noun and a different meaning if they're placed after your noun. Often the meaning is more literal when it's placed after the noun, and I'm going to show you some examples. Okay, but before, I just want to say, don't think that this applies to every adjective. You can't just flip-flop them and decide where they go. Okay, not all adjectives can go before your noun. Okay, I'm calling these two-faced adjectives because they have one meaning if the adjective goes before the noun, like a bangs adjective, and they have a different, more literal meaning if it goes after your noun, like a regular adjective. Here are some examples. Ancien. If you say mon ancien prof, it's like saying my former teacher, okay? Or like sometimes we'll say my old teacher, and you don't mean like they're ancient in years, you mean that you had them before and you have a new one now, okay? But the opposite of that here is using this more literally as ancient. Un secret ancien, now I have my noun and then my adjective, then I'm going to have an ancient secret. So here, your adjective was before your noun, and it meant former, and here it means ancient. Vrai. The literal meaning of vrai is true. So if we say une histoire vraie, then we're saying a true story. And keep in mind that these are adjectives, so they still have to agree with the nouns. But now, over here, I'm going to say un vrai cauchemar. Here's my adjective before my noun. Here, I'm kind of translating this to real, like it's a real nightmare. And could I say a true nightmare? Sure, I could. All right, so it's not so much like you have to get hung up on, do I mean true, do I mean real? It's just in how your listener is going to understand you. And if it's a small difference between true and real, then you don't have to worry a whole lot. Just go ahead and speak. Here are some other examples. Certain can mean some if it goes before your adjective, before your noun, and it can mean sure if it goes after your noun. Cher, this is what we use in a letter. We would say like cher Jean, dear John, and then we go on with our letter. Cher in this case means dear, but cher really means expensive, like as the opposite of bon marché, which is cheap. So here, expensive, here a more figurative meaning like dear. Dernier literally means previous. So if I say la semaine dernière, I'm saying like the previous week. Dernière, sorry. Okay, means like the previous week. But if I say la dernière personne, I'm saying the last person, like the last person in line. So a little more figurative. Autre exemple. Pauvre. Pauvre can mean poor in the sense of not having any money, if you put it afterwards. And it can mean poor like, oh, poor boy, unfortunate, if you put it before your noun. Propre can mean clean, if you're talking literally, like ma voiture propre, my clean car. Or if you put it before your noun, if you say ma propre voiture, it's more like you're saying my own car. Sale means dirty. So if you're talking about something having dirt, then you're going to use this sale. But you can also use that word dirty to mean more like nasty, so not really having dirt, but still not desirable. And two last examples. Seul, if it comes before your noun, it means only. If it goes after your noun, it means lonely. And this one's a little strange because we told you that grand was a bags adjective, a size adjective, but now we're telling you that if it goes after your noun, then it's going to mean tall. If you use it before the noun, it's more figurative and it more means great than really tall. Remember, some adjectives change meanings when they change where they're placed in the sentences. Doesn't apply to all adjectives though. Usually the more literal meaning is understood if the adjective is placed after the noun, and when the adjective is placed before the noun, the meaning is more figurative. So remember, these are the two-faced adjectives.